Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy that you've chose us to be part of your day. Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Nate Muri is the founder of Garden Like a Viking YouTube channel. He encourages and teaches people to grow into growing naturally. He's also a big believer in building your soil for the best garden growth. Welcome to the program, Nate.
Hello, my friends.
Well, we thank you for taking time out of your day, not only to educate Holly and myself, but all of our listeners. And I'll start with this, Nate. Many people are always concerned about the cost of gardening. What are some of your soil budget-friendly tips?
Well, some of the things that people don't fully realize is that the best fertilizers can be made at home by yourself. And so everyone's aware of compost, yes, but one of the best fertilizers and one of the things that I promote heavily on my YouTube channel is aerated compost tea. So it's very cheap. We're using compost and we're brewing it in such a way that multiplies it in a liquid form. And then we apply that to the plants in the garden. Very cheap, very economical, and it's building soil health. The other thing that I highly recommend is to learn how to make just a couple of the fertilizers. And I have all of these on my YouTube channel. And the most important ones are fish-based. So these are all things that you can make yourself. It doesn't cost a lot of money.
When you make that compost, do you foliar feed it? Do you put it in the soil? Is there too much if people are concerned? Did I over-fertilize, or is there a concern there?
Well, the wonderful thing about aerated compost tea is that it is very forgiving. And so we are brewing really the microbiology. The best thing is to focus not so much on the nutrients as it is the microbiology, because unbeknownst to most people, all of the nutrients that they really need is already present in the soil. It's just locked up and it needs to be unlocked by the microbiology. So the key is really to get those microbes in there. So when you brew a proper aerated compost tea, no, you can't really over apply it. You can't hurt anything so long as you brew it right. And it's a pretty simple process, but there are some guidelines. Of course, I've made videos about this on my YouTube channel.
Fantastic. So mulch is vital. What do you use for mulch, and what do you recommend other people use for mulch, maybe if they don't use the same thing as you?
Yes, mulch. Yeah, that's a great question because mulch is absolutely vital. So it really depends upon your specific parameters. When I do consultations with people, they have very different setups. And so if you are having to, if you've got a small garden that is easy to manage, then organic mulches are the way to go. My favorite of all is deciduous leaves. So because they nourish the soil, they're the favorite food of earthworms, and they help to keep the soil moist and to feed the microbiology. And so also the deciduous leaves will block out a lot of the weeds from popping up. And so that's another plus. Down the line, though, would be like straw. Straw is also a very good one, but it costs a bit more. The deciduous leaves are free. That's one reason I love them.
Right.
But if you have a large space to do, it's hard to get that much organic matter. And so we like to use rolls of landscaping fabric as also perfectly acceptable. And you can cover a much larger area, easier with the landscaping fabric.
Now, does people whom choose that landscaping fabric avenue, there's a certain porous level that you have to be aware of, or does anything that you see cheap on sale work?
Well, it depends. If after you've worked with it for a while, you do understand the differences between the quality stuff that costs a bit more and then just the real cheap stuff. So the number one rule with the landscaping fabric is we never put anything on top of it. So we don't put down landscaping fabric and then other kinds of mulch, because things can grow down through it. They just can't grow up through it. So we don't want to be putting stuff on top of the fabric. So we would get us a roll of the Sunbelt or the DeWitt. Those are some brands. And then we would lay it out, and then we burn holes in that, in the landscaping fabric. And we actually plant into the earth underneath that. And that really eliminates things from coming up.
And you bring up a point that if you mulch on top, things are going to go through. And we see that on like TV shows and YouTube channels where somebody has mulch or somebody has put wheat fabric down and then put wood mulch on top of it or gravel, and they're trying to pull that stuff, and the weed roots have gone through and actually locked itself into the ground beneath the mulch.
Yes, exactly. And that's why a lot of people are like, oh, no, never use landscaping fabric, because they've got sort of bad memories or they've had bad experience with that, pulling that stuff up. But it should never be that way. You leave it on top of everything.
Definitely. So you have this great YouTube channel. Tell us the name of your YouTube channel and tell us what people can expect to learn on it.
Well, my YouTube channel is called Garden Like Viking. And I am also on Instagram, also on Facebook, and so you can look me up there. And what you can learn on the channel is really, I think at the moment there's 41 different videos I've made over the past years just on how to brew specific homemade fertilizers. So there's homemade fertilizers, there's how to heal the land, there's how to prepare the soil with cover cropping, how to use the green manure method. So many different methods of nourishing the land so that you can tailor it to what you have available. That's really the key, is making it so that, okay, you're in a certain location, your parameters are different than mine. Here is the skills you will need for that. So how to brew your own fertilizers, how to prep the land, how to grow the crops, and also, most importantly, how to preserve the harvest and how to eat the harvest. I mean, from seed to table.
Now, in the process of making videos for Holly and myself, as well as many people we've talked to, we learn so much in our own video production, like, oh, I didn't know that was going to work, that we get to share with people. What is some of the big aha moments that you have discovered in your brewing series that you thought, well, that's new. That's clearly something I need to share with everybody?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I would say, things that have to do with simplicity, distilling things. So there's a lot of overcomplication in the process as far as fertilizers and the NPK ratios and all of these kind of things. So I have found through explaining it to people and through working with people through online consultations and whatnot, that the key is to make it as simple as possible, and that's what makes people willing to stick to it. That's what makes them integrate it into their life so that it doesn't become something that's overwhelming. And so really trying to see the simplicity hidden amongst the complex is really what making the videos and working with people has shown to me.
Making it simple, and we are our own worst enemy. Well, I don't want to do that because it looks hard. Well, nobody else is going to do it, and you've got one shot in life. You might as well try it.
That's exactly right. You got to get growing something. You got to get growing.
So we saw, or let's see, tell us, we saw that you made a shelf-stable tomato paste. What is that, and how did it work out for you that you can share with all of us?
Well, the shelf-stable tomato paste is one of those, is the sort of a product of one of those aha moments when I'm trying to simplify things. So making tomato paste for me for many years was a real laborious kind of thing. You had to blanch it, you had to core the tomatoes, then you had to blanch them and take the skins off and then the seeds out and all of this kind of stuff. And so that was a very involved process with many steps, and I just kind of stopped doing it because of that reason. But then I was shown and then discovered this way of the shelf-stable tomato paste, which is so simple that I couldn't believe I didn't see it before. All you have to do is take the whole tomato and dehydrate it until it's bone dry, and then grind it up into a powder. And that's pretty much it. And it says shelf-stable in a jar, and as you need it for cooking, you can just take spoonfuls of it and add it. Like, for example, the other night I was sauteing chicken, and I wanted that tang, that kind of zesty tang from a tomato paste. But I wasn't going to go into the basement and bust open a whole jar, a whole can of tomato paste and then just use a little bit and waste the rest. So instead, I just, of course, have the shelf-stable tomato paste that I just sprinkle a little bit in there. And it's very concentrated in flavor. And I'll never go back to making the other kind.
Right. And then the moisture in the dish in which you are preparing absorbs into the tomato and turns it into that paste that we're familiar with.
Yes, exactly. And so recipes that call for some tomato paste to really enhance the concentration of flavor, it's ideal for that. You just add some of that, or if you need just actual tomato paste, just rehydrate it with a few drops of water like that. But I have a full video about it on my YouTube channel.
And you and I both know that homegrown stuff is much more flavorful than anything you ever find in a jar or a can in the store.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, because the flavor of something is a direct representation of the mineral content, of the vitamin and mineral content. And so things that are grown on a mass production scale in greenhouses, in soils that are depleted or hydroponically, they're lacking the minerals. And so when we grow them ourselves at home, we're getting that rich source of nutrients. And that's where the flavor comes from.
Fantastic. So in regards to, the gardening and building the soil and all of that, is this something you've always done, or what inspired you to do that and to start your YouTube channel?
Well, really, it was so for about a 10-year span, I traveled the world. I was traveling through mostly in Asia. I spent a lot of time in Sri Lanka, in India, and then Nepal. Then I lived in Thailand and through Vietnam. I also lived in Greece for some time. And so over these years, I was observing these sort of ancient ways, these ways that people are growing food that they have been doing for thousands of years. And it was nothing like how I was used to back home. And so all the things that I was taught in these travels, all the different things people had showed me, the villagers and stuff, when I came back, I was like, I've got all these experiences, so I need to get this out to people. People got to learn this. The Western audience has to learn these ancient practices. And so I started the YouTube channel, and pretty much immediately it kind of exploded.
Yeah, the fascination of, let's just take the Native Americans here in America. We've pushed them off their land and say, you're not important, when really we should have said, hey, teach us what you know, because you clearly know stuff that we white people do not understand, and we've lost that.
Right. Yes. I mean, these cultures, these more ancient cultures, have been living in relative symbiosis with the environment for a long, long time. I mean, India, for example, is been around for thousands of years. I mean, buildings that are 1,000 or 2,000 years old, things we just don't have anything like that in America, how old the society is there. And so there's so many things we can learn. And so that was really what inspired me to begin sharing these techniques.
Absolutely. Well, Nate, we greatly appreciate the time you've offered us. You've shared with us your YouTube channel. Re-share with us and our listeners again, so we know where to go on the World Wide Web to find you.
Yes, you can search YouTube or Instagram. It's Garden Like a Viking.
Well, Nate, we greatly appreciate the time, and the information you shared with us has been very knowledgeable, and we greatly appreciate that the time you've given us.
All right, not a problem. Thanks for the chat.
Absolutely. And